Rana Butler, Michelle Fernandez, Mike Fernandez, Rotem Lack, Tamara Namdar, Shana Partouche, Rivka Shira Princelow, Rachel Princelow. Yeah. Sofa Gula Yafi, Yofi, Yofa.
Yeah.
Got it, Yofa. Try to remember that. Sarah Business. Tavara Kapilovich. Huh? Okay. I don't have two of your names. Rivka Bendetska? Oh. Shana Partouche? She's not here. So who did not hear their name called out? 1 second, we do have. Oh yeah, we're missing one. Great. What's your name?
Sharon. With S-H-A.
S-H-A.
R-O-N.
R. Sharon.
And then E-L-L-E at the end. It's the same name.
E-L.
L-E.
How do you pronounce? Sharon. Your last name?
Sasson.
S-A.
S-S-O-N.
S-A-S-O-N.
S-S-O-N.
S-S-O. Okay, got it. Okay. Ready to begin. So, last class we were discussing the malachas of what's called dash. So just to briefly summarize, so you will have it fresh in our mind what we're discussing over here, and that is that in the malacha of dash, the malacha is called dash. The board, the al malacha is dash. The farik is the tulda, that's the offshoot. Dash is threshing, the farik is extracting, which means anything similar to threshing, which is if you have two different items, there can be two different, and one contained inside the other, and you're extracting one from the other, that's the definition of farik. So we spoke about squeezing grapes and olives. According to the Torah, you're not allowed to squeeze grapes and olives. Only grapes and olives, according to the Torah. Other fruits, you are according to the Torah. We discussed that all fruits, that is the derech that people usually squeeze for its juice, you're not allowed to squeeze. We said you're not allowed. All fruits, that is the derech to be squeezed for the juice, then you're not allowed to squeeze them on Shabbos. But we're analyzing what is the malacha. Essentially, how do we categorize the malacha of dash, the farik? That is, when you have two separate items, it's to be two different, not the same. One contained inside the other, one trapped into the other, and you extract one from the other. So that's why, according to the Torah, it's only the malacha of the farik is only by grapes and olives, not by oranges and grapefruits. Why? Because a grapefruit is looked upon as one item. It's not considered two items. You don't look at it like this. There's a grapefruit and there's juice inside. That's not how we look at it. It's one thing. You're squeezing it out, so there's like a person sweats, the sweat that comes out of your body. So obviously it's not the same, but it's a similar idea. Grapes and olives, by nature, the juice that's sitting in the grape and the olive is considered a juice. So you have the fruit, the grape, the olive, and then you have the juice that's contained inside. And that's the malacha of the farik. When you have two different items, and you extract one from the other. And we said that all fruits that's the derech to squeeze, squeeze on Shabbos. And we spoke about sucking with your mouth. You're not supposed to take grapes and olives and suck it out with your mouth. Remember, we said that all fruits besides grapes and olives, the Untitled Rebbe said you could suck out with your mouth. The Untitled Rebbe says you should, only by grapes and olives you should be strict. And also you should not take, let's say you're gonna take cake and put it into your coffee and then suck out the juice from your cake. You should not do that. It's obviously, it's not asur min ha'Torah. It's a chumrah, which means it's a stringency. The Untitled Rebbe says it's good to be strict because it's questionable if that's considered mepharik. On one hand, you're doing it with your mouth. That's not how you do extracting by mouth. It's not the wrong way. On the other hand, that's people do. That's how people, that's what people do. They want to get the juice out of the coffee that's absorbing the cake. You suck it out of your mouth. So it's sort of like if you call it a gray area, questionable. The Untitled Rebbe says you should be strict and you should not suck it out with your mouth. What else did we talk about? We spoke about that you could squeeze fruits into the food. It gives a taste into the food, squeezing lemon into the salad. We said you could, and the last thing we discussed was that another way of squeezing liquid into food is if it gets absorbed into the food. Remember that it gets absorbed, even though it's not giving a taste, but if it's actually getting absorbed into the food, it's okay. But after it's absorbed, you can't squeeze more. So if it's actually getting absorbed, then it's not considered mepharik. I don't know if we discussed the reason. Is anyone wondering what the reason? Why is it okay? If you're not going to do mepharik, so how come if you're squeezing it into food, it's okay? Okay, good. It becomes like one entity with the food. So what? But aren't you doing the mepharik? You're extracting. I mean, what changed over here that now it's okay? Why are we saying it's okay? What happened?
Because it's for Shabbos. Because it's for this meal.
Correct. When you're saying it's correct, but I'm looking for the. I don't know. What's the reason? It's not enough of a reason. Why is it okay? If this is extracting, why is it okay? What changed that made it okay? The reason is because when you are squeezing, when you are extracting the juice of the lemon into the salad, and the purpose is to give a taste into the salad, so now the liquid that's going into the salad gets the status of solid food. Now it goes out of the status of liquid and it enters into the status of solid, which means that the juice that was squeezed out of the lemon is not perceived halachically as liquid anymore. Because being that the purpose of the liquid is to give a taste into the salad that you're making, so now this juice that came out of the lemon is not perceived as liquid, it's perceived as solid food. So what do you have now? You didn't extract liquid from solid, you extracted solid from solid. Not extract, remember, the definition of a mepharik is there has to be two separate things, two different items, and one trapped into the other. And you're extracting one from the other. It has to be two different. If it's the same, it's all solid food. Like we said, are you allowed to have a very spongy, good chocolate cake, and you want to squeeze out from the inside? Sometimes at the middle it gets like very nice and soft. And you want to take the cake and squeeze out till you get like the very soft and oily part of the cake. Is that called extracting? That called squeezing? Because it's one item. It's not two separate items. It's one item, so there's no issue. Okay, so that's pretty much from last time. And we also, let's see if you remember this, Are you allowed to take a lemon and squeeze it onto sugar? Because you want to put sugar into your tea, so you're going to squeeze a lemon onto the sugar because it's getting absorbed into the sugar, right? So you want to do that, and then you put the sugar into the tea. Is that okay? No, but it's getting absorbed into the sugar. Is that okay to do? We said if it gets absorbed into food, it's okay. So if it's going to get absorbed into the sugar, it should be okay, right? No. Why not? Because what?
Is your intention to put it into a liquid?
Correct, because your intention is to put it into the liquid. Because that's your intention. So now it's not going to get the status of solid food because it's not meant to stay inside the solid food, which is the sugar. The ultimate purpose is that it's going to go back into the liquid. So now you can't say that now the lemon juice, the juice that was squeezed out is now the status of solid food because it's going into the sugar. No, but eventually you want to put it into the tea. So that's not okay. Milking a cow on Shabbos, I think we discussed that a little bit over here. Milking cow on Shabbos, right? So basically, milking a cow is also the malacha of the farik. And the way to do it is, anyone remembers how to do it on Shabbos? You get a non-Jew to milk for you, and
You don't use it on milk.
you tell the non-Jew that the milk is his. It's like he's doing it for himself. And then you buy the milk after Shabbos. If that's his job, let's say he's hired to do that, and that's his only job, let's say, his job is to milk the cows all the time, then it's okay for you to keep the milk because it's his job, so he's doing it for himself, he's getting paid for it, so then that's also fine. But the milk cannot be used on Shabbos. We spoke about, did we speak about the Xavier of Nashkin Shazal? Did we discuss this here? I don't remember. There's a Xavier, okay, I'll start explain, tell me if we didn't do it, I'll just explain it in length. That if juice comes out from fruits, so they have very juicy orange, let's say, juicy fruits that are for squeezing, and the juice comes out by itself, you're not going to use it. We spoke about it?
No.
Okay. So this it's called the Xavier of Nashkin Shazar. It's something called Xenas Mashkin Xenas, the decree of Mashkin, able to read this? Mashkin is liquid. Mashkin Sher Zavu. Zav. Zav means oozing, running out. Mashkin is liquid, Shazavu, then oozing out. So Nachman made a decree, and they said that if you have fruits that is designated for juicing, or you have grapes or olives, or milk that was milk from a cow, and the juice came out by itself on Shabbos, or it came out by a non-Jew, no difference how it came out, but it didn't come out from you, came out other than you, either by itself or a non-Jew that did it, you are prohibited from using this juice on Shabbos. So whether it's the grapes and olives, or fruits that are designated for juicing, they bought for juicing, or milk. Milk is the same idea, because just like you're not allowed to squeeze fruits, you're not allowed to milk a cow. So it goes into the same category. So you're not allowed to use that juice or the milk on Shabbos. Why? It's a decree, because if you'll be allowed to use it, you might end up squeezing it. You might end up milking the cow yourself. She said, you're not allowed to use it because you might end up doing the malacha yourself. That's why milk that's milk on Shabbos, through a non-Jew is allowed. You are not allowed to use that milk on Shabbos. You have to wait till after Shabbos. Included in the malacha of mefarik, extracting, is also if you have liquid absorbed in material. So it's not just liquid inside a fruit, liquid inside a material. If I have a tissue and it's absorbed, I wiped up the water spilled and I wiped up the spill and it's absorbed and saturated with liquid. If I squeeze out the liquid, that's also mefarik because it's two different items. It's material and has liquid absorbed into it. I'm extracting the liquid from the material. I'm not allowed to do that. However, usually it's not going to be prohibited. Only midrabanan. So as we know all the time, sometimes it's midrabanan, sometimes it's midrabanan. So usually, if I do this, it's going to be midrabanan. Why? Because minatayr is only prohibited if I'm interested in what's coming out. Similar to how it was done in the Mishkan. When they did extracting in the Mishkan, they extracted the kernel that they used for the dye. They were interested in what was being extracted. And the same with fruits. You extracted it because you want the juice. You want the cow because you want the milk. But when I'm squeezing the liquid in, I don't want the liquid. I'm squeezing it for whatever, or putting pressure against it, whatever it is. I'm squeezing it because I want to be able to use it again. I'm not interested in the liquid that's coming out. So it's not an issa minatayna, but it's still us, it's also midrabanan. That's why when you're wiping up a spill, you have to be very careful. You can't just keep on squeezing it and pushing it because you're extracting the liquid from the material.
Rabbi, I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Why you allowed to squish the?
Is this?
Why you is allowed to squish the liquid to put in the salad, but you don't allow to squish to put in your water or whatever.
You're asking why are you allowed to squeeze the lemon into the salad but not into your tea?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or yes, or in the water,
So, right,
whatever.
so that's what I explained before, because when you're squeezing it into the salad, so because it's going into food, so the liquid becomes like a food.
Mm.
So now it's
But
not considered,
But in some case, some persons that you put lemon or whatever, we could say so. It's a I don't know.
That's what I
bad,
explained before. I explained before, say it over briefly. When you're squeezing lemon into salad, into food, not into liquid, now the juice is not juice anymore. Halachically, it's considered like food.
Okay.
The reason why you can't squeeze lemon is because you're extracting liquid from a solid food. But now this liquid that's coming out is not viewed as liquid anymore. It's viewed as solid because it's there to give a taste into the salad, to the vegetables, to the lettuce.
Thank you.
Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If the cow is in pain and there's like,
If
like,
the what?
if the cow is like in pain and to be extracted.
If the cow's in pain, so that's what we said, you ask a nausea. If there's no nausea, okay, so it's a good question. I don't think it's so practical because usually if you have a cow, you plan out in advance what you're going to do. But if, let's say, you don't have a non-Jew, I have to look it up later. If I remember correctly, I'm not going to guess.
It's okay.
I'll look it up later, It might be a big issue. So, there could be ways. You know what? I think there are ways because if you pour it, there's a way how to. If you squeeze it and it goes to waste, or you let it fall onto something else. I'm going to look it up. I wasn't thinking that we can have this question, but remind me after class, so I'll make a notation, so I'll remember to look it up. Okay. Now, there's something called steel, right? Steel you scrub dishes with. people do not use steel wool on Shabbos. Why? Because steel wool has liquid absorbed into it. You're washing the dishes, the steel wool is wet, and you're scrubbing the dishes. What's happening? The liquid that's absorbed in the steel wool is coming out of the steel wool. Just like you can't wipe with a schmata that's saturated with liquid and you're rubbing and the liquid is coming out. So too, when you scrub with steel wool and the steel wool has liquid inside of it, you are squeezing, not intentionally, but that's what's happening. You are squeezing the liquid out of the steel wool. But the question that you could ask is, that the liquid is not really absorbed in the steel wool. Liquid doesn't get absorbed in steel wool, correct? You understand what I'm saying? The liquid gets trapped. The water gets trapped inside the fibers. It doesn't get absorbed like in here. It's not absorbed in the liquid, the steel wool, right? So the answer is it's only midrabanan, which means that steel wool, and the same as here, by the way. Here, meaning if someone's hair is wet. Why I'm saying if someone's hair is wet, because you don't take showers on Shabbos. So, but let's say the men that go to the mikveh Shabbos morning, the hair is wet. It's the same issue. They cannot scrub their heads with a towel because they are squeezing out the liquid that's in the hair. But hair doesn't get absorbed, liquid doesn't get absorbed inside the hair. It gets trapped. You get it? It doesn't absorb. It's just that it traps the water inside. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's the same like steel wool. It's the same idea. Here is not the same like steel wool, hopefully. But it's the same idea. It's the same idea that it gets trapped. It gets trapped inside the hair. So therefore, the prohibition is only midrabanan, but it's still prohibited. So you're not allowed to use steel wool or someone whose hair is wet on Shabbos. An example: the men that go to the mikveh Shabbos morning, so they are not allowed to scrub their head with a towel. What they do is they just take the towel, put it on their head, and it sits there and it absorbs whatever it absorbs, whatever it doesn't, and then they move on. Yeah, there's something called wipes. What people use for diapering a baby is wipes, right? Wipes. Now the wipe is wet. So when you are diapering and the wipes is wet, and you're putting pressure, you are squeezing out a little liquid. So that's prohibited. I believe there are some that have a hechsher on it for Shabbos. I haven't looked into it recently. Some have a hechsher because they have very little liquid. Some are still machim, they still won't use it. But that's the way to go, is you don't use wipes on Shabbos. So the best thing is to use a spray. They sell for Shabbos now that everything for Shabbos. They sell a spray, so you can just spray it and then you're wiping. So as long as you're wiping with a towel, with a napkin, a tissue actually that's dry. So now it's not wet. It's going to get wet as you're wiping, but you're not starting off with a wet material. You're spraying on the body and then you're wiping it. So now there's no problem of squeezing out. Interesting halacha, that is that you're not allowed to walk in a place that you might fall into the water. What do you mean you might fall into the water? Of course, you're going to fall in it. We're talking about even if it's not dangerous. Let's say a swimming pool. A swimming pool, and you know how to swim, the water is not deep, whatever. We're not discussing safety issue.
On Shabbos?
You're not allowed to walk. You're not allowed to walk around the edge of a pool, the ledge of the pool, because you might fall in and your clothes are going to get wet, and then you might come to squeeze out your clothes. You're not going to squeeze out your clothes on Shabbos because you're cleaning it. Now, when we're going to learn later on more halachas about cleaning on Shabbos. Cleaning, I don't mean cleaning like cleaning, just cleaning the table. I'm talking about washing clothes. Now I wash clothes on Shabbos. When we talk about squeezing material, we said you're not going to squeeze material and have liquid absorbed into it. And we said the malach is methodic, extracting. But sometimes when you are squeezing material that is wet, it could be a different malacha. It could be a malacha of cleaning. But that's not what we're discussing now. We're discussing like a rag, a shmata, paper towel that's wet, and you're squeezing out the liquid because you're wiping. That's methodic. But if, let's say, you have clothes that was washed, let's say, now after it's washed, so we have everything that the machine does. The machine pulls out all the water, right? But in the old days, after they washed it, they would take it and squeeze out the water, squeeze it out. That was part of the process of cleaning. So someone who does that type of squeezing, which is not practical these days, but I just want to make it clear that the idea of squeezing can also be an issur min hatayra, that if the clothes was washed, and then you take clean clothes and you squeeze it out, the squeezing is part of the process of cleaning, and then that type of squeezing will be issur min hatayra. But this is a topic that we're going to discuss later on. Now, if you are caught in a rainstorm, they're predicting actually a rainstorm today, this afternoon, and it's Shabbos, and you come back to your apartment and you're soaked, everything you did, totally soaked. So you change, and now what do you do with your wet clothes? Usually you hang it up. You're not allowed to hang it up in the place where you usually hang up your clothes to dry after you do laundry. So if you have a place that after you wash, you do laundry, this is where you hang it up to dry. You can't take your wet clothes that became wet on Shabbos and hang it up in that place because it gives the impression like you did laundry on Shabbos. And so could suspect you that you did laundry on Shabbos. It doesn't matter that there's no one coming into the house. It doesn't matter. Chum made a prohibition, being that it could come to this, that people will suspect you that you did laundry on Shabbos. You cannot hang up your wet clothes that became wet on Shabbos and hang it up in the same place that you usually hang up your clothes to dry after you do laundry during the week. And of course, you have to be careful not to squeeze out the liquid, even though you're not washing it, but that's something you have to be careful. Any questions? So there's another malacha. We're pretty much finished with the malacha of dash, and we go to the malacha of zoyde. Zoyde is important. Zoyde is winnowing. So I'm going to put the word box for you. The first malacha we had was Leah. Some put Chedesh before Zereya, because usually Chedesh is plowing and Zereya is planting. But in the Mishnah it's written this way, there's reasons for it. Chedesh, Dash, Dash, then goes Zereya. Okay. Zereya, Chedesh, Dash, Zereya. Dash is threshing, which we discussed, and the tool of dash we said is refining, extracting, which we were just discussing. Now comes Zayda. Zayda is winnowing. What is winnowing? Winnowing is that after they would extract the kernel from the chaff, but it was still mixed together. They broke it apart, now it was separated. It wasn't stuck inside, but still it wasn't totally separated. Zayda, which means winnowing, means that they would throw it into the air, to the wind, and the wind would separate it. So it's not a very practical malacha, because what does it apply to these days? So the Alter brings something interesting, that if you spit into the wind, and the wind separates your spit. It's windy and you spit and the wind separates it. Otherwise, you're not allowed to do that in Shabbos. Because that's also Zayda. There are opinions who say that it's not an issue because some opinions say Zayda is only when it's two different items. But the spit that is being separated by the wind is one item. The Untitled Chapter holds it's still usher, and you're not allowed to spit into the wind of Shabbos, the wind separating it, and that's included in Zayda, in winnowing. Another example is confetti. You know what confetti is? You throw confetti into the wind. It's windy, and that's in a place you're allowed to carry. Of course, the Shabbos you're not allowed to carry. Okay, so it's indoors. I mean, it's you're gated in outside the big gates. There's no problem with carrying. You want to have some fun. You're going to throw confetti into the wind, and the wind is going to. You're not allowed to do that in Shabbos. That's Zayda. Another example is you have a tablecloth with a bunch of crumbs. Now people have disposable, no big deal. I think this is just wrap it up, put it into the garbage. I mean, but it's just always a regular tablecloth and there's crumbs in it, and you want to clean it out. You shake it onto your floor. So you go to your backyard. You're living in the suburbs. You have a big area in the back, and you take it and you go outside and you shake it out into the wind. You're not allowed to do that. That is included in Zayda. Now the question comes up in regards to sprays. There are certain sprays that could be an issue of Zayda, but most of them are not. Most sprays are aerosol. And there's no problem. Most deodorants are not an issue of Zayda. But it could be an issue with deodorant and Shabbos. So in terms of the Malach of Zayda, there is no issue with deodorant, with sprays, deodorant that is spraying. But it could be an issue, there will be an issue if the deodorant is scented. If the deodorant is scented, has a scent, then you're spraying it on yourself. So it's because it's there to create a scent on your body. So therefore, this will be but if the spray was there, if the scent is still there, so let's say you use deodorant before Shabbos and the scent is still there, then you're just adding more scent to it. So the scent didn't leave completely, you're just adding more scent, then it's okay. So what's the problem? Why is it okay if it's already there before Shabbos and you're adding more? I mean, if something is not allowed, it's not allowed. You don't say, have you already started doing it before Shabbos, you could do more. Are you allowed to use deodorant or not? So again, what's the problem with deodorant? Only if there's a scent. And the scent is, it's because it's creating a new smell. It's creating a new scent on a person's body, a new scent that was not there before. So midrabanan, it's prohibited because it gives the impression of like a malacha, like you're creating something new that was not there before. It's not an issur by the time, it's issur midrabanan. So if there was no scent on the body before and you're adding a new scent on that part of the body, you're not allowed. But if you sprayed yourself before Shabbos and the scent is still there, it's just not as strong, you're just adding more, then you are allowed to do it on Shabbos.
It's Chabad.
Huh?
It's Chabad, or it's for everyone.
What do you mean it's Chabad? What is Chabad?
We have Chabad.
Explain your question. Is it minig Chabad that it's allowed?
Yeah, it's allowed.
No, it's halacha. Everyone. Yeah, it's halacha.
Because I heard something, and it's not.
Then it's not okay?
Yeah. So it's not true.
No, there are opinions that are lenient with spraying on the body in general. I have to check again. But clearly No one's gonna say, you're saying they're gonna say they're not allowed?
Yeah.
No, everyone agrees that once you already spray before Shabbos and the scent is still there, you can add more. That is no machlokes about.
Not on clothes,
What?
only body.
Clothes would be the same if you already sprayed before Shabbos. You're adding on the clothes the same.
Yes.
That could be an issue because of cleaning, washing. Because you put the clothes wet. So the clothes is a bigger issue. But if the clothes is already wet, already has the scent and you're adding more, I have to check, I have to look it up. Because we need, remind me of the class, I'll make a notation and look it up. Yeah.
Are you allowed to spray it into the air or only on?
No difference. Not outside. In
Right.
other words, if you're spraying outside into the wind and the wind is blowing it apart, that was a problem. Just to spray in the wind over here in the ear over here is not a problem. What's wrong? In other words, this is not what's happening. There's no issue with the spray. Most sprays have no issue in itself. The issue is if it's scented and creating a scent in your body, it's a problem. But if the scent was there before and you're just adding more scent, then it's okay.
What if you walk through it after you spray?
If you spray into the air and then walk.
Yeah,
Walk through.
is that?
And then you walk, and if you're creating a new scent,
They should do it
you
on
can't do
Friday.
that. You can't do that.
What do
Yeah.
you do before? Like,
Hmm?
before you light, just spray the air and then you can do it again.
You spray
It's
into the
not,
air.
we're not gonna stay in the air.
If you just spray, no. If you're just spraying into the air, there's no problem.
But you're walking through it though. It's like-
But you are spraying.
But, 1 second, you're walking through it, or you mean you're intentionally walking
Yeah,
through it to
thing
get a
that
scent
girls-
on yourself?
Thing that women do.
Is the scent, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
When you spray into the air, and then you walk through it,
It becomes-
is it actually going into your body?
Not into your
Well,
body.
not-
What I'm saying is it affecting your body somewhat similar to spraying
Yeah,
directly on your
yeah.
body?
Yeah.
So if that's your intention, so now it gets a little tricky. If you spray into the air and you immediately walk through it,
Yeah.
using it as a,
Right.
using it as a way how to be allowed to do it, and that's your intention while you're walking through, it'll be a problem. But if you spray into the air and the intention is not to get it onto your body, and then you end up walking through it not intending, that's already too much of a stretch to say that, oh, I'm gonna walk through because it might, no, not to that extent, not to that
So what
extent.
about spray deodorant then?
Huh?
Spray deodorant.
Where you just, right.
Spray deodorant?
Yeah, like the
What
aerosol.
about, I'm not sure you asked, what about spray deodorant?
Like, is that an issue if you can't like spray the perfume?
I'm not sure what you asked, you're saying you could spray, if you sprayed before and just adding more.
Right, you're allowed to
Okay.
spray it.
Okay, yeah.
Deodorant into the room, into the air,
I guess.
No, for your own.
what? And
Like
onto,
deodorant.
onto your body.
Yeah,
If there's still some scent there,
okay.
if there's still some scent, in other words, you make sure you use it at a time when there's still something left over. So you're just adding, you're not creating something new. Then you're good, but if there's nothing left, then you have an issue.
Then you gotta smell bad all showers.
Well, you have to, I tell you, you have to,
You
it
want to smell
depends.
stuff.
You have to plan things out properly.
Exactly. You bought for me 7 years, like, no deodorant for me. You smell them walking down the street.
Okay,
Anyways,
any other questions?
you will never catch me more into the shave on Shabbos.
Okay, so we're done for today.